In a strange land, never done nobody wrong. The sun goes black, the earth does shake. Hold your tears when I am dead and gone. This sour wine you offer me, it takes away my pain and it makes my body numb. Between two thieves, a head hanging.
Good morning and welcome to Dateline New Haven on WNHH-FM, your home for community radio. I'm Paul Bass, inviting you to look behind the headlines on the stories that make the Elm City tick. Nothing ticks better than Pundit Friday, which is to begin here in the WNHH studio with the number one pundits in the media universe, like the dairy-free goddess of our radio operation. The
No milk for me.
The belle of our ball. The managing editor of the Inner City News, who has the vegan with no beef for meat, and the host of Love Babs Love Talk.
No cheeseburger for her.
But burger. Babs rolls
burger.
The Queen of Quippering, Quintessence of Compassion, Lavosa Hispana, publisher Norma Rodriguez Reyes. Hopefully we'll get the bravest man in New Haven, Harry Joyce. And on his way from the corner of Church and Elm, but not yet in the studio, Mr. Joe Ugly. Of Ugly Radio. I was wanting to see what he thought of the debate last night. Norma?
Well, put it on the end. Put it on the end if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was going to see what Joe Ugly thought. Because the debate last night was the big mayoral debate before the primaries Tuesday between Higher Pinsky joined. Nice to hear from you. Tony Harp is facing a challenge from Justin Elliker. Justin Elliker got a quick start in this campaign. Last couple of weeks, Tony Harp's been making up a lot of ground. And last night was a real showdown. And before I opine, I was wondering, Norma was in the house. What'd you think?
God, I haven't seen a debate like that in a long, long time.
How so?
Is it good?
It
Your
was
eyes
a full
are all
house.
Your eyes are all twinkly. It must have been good.
It was a full house, honey. And they both had a lot of energy, okay? Definitely, it's interesting. Whoever you ask, who won the debate, the folks from Harp say Harp definitely won it, and the folks from Elliker say he definitely won it.
Not when they speak privately.
And then with Elliker over there answering the question in Spanish only. Oh, please.
Yeah, there's a question about, like, are you going to do about, incorporating Latinos more to the schools? He answered the whole question in Spanish. What was so interesting, and this is going to get to a larger point I have, was Tony Harp parried it by portraying him as elitist for speaking in Spanish only. He said, now you have just seen, she was, last night she was
sharp.
She was ready for this debate like a prize fighter, and I'm going to get to something about that. But anyway, she said, now you in the audience knows what it's like to feel left out when people communicate in a way that only some people can understand. She had turned around. She went
Muhammad Ali.
She turned. So he did a Beto, right? Isn't it Beto who does the whole question and answer?
Absolutely.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. So his thing was, I'm going to show you I'm not the white guy who can't talk to anyone different. I'm answering in Spanish. She's saying this is sort of elite. So she was trying to portray everything from the Democracy Fund, which is to try to let little people have a voice in government, found a way to make an argument because she doesn't participate as making it elitist for the rich people. Then he came back and said, if you don't want to have rich people running, why are you taking $1,000 contributions from contractors? It was a pretty good knockdown drag out.
No, but that compensates. Okay, the $1,000 donation compensates for the smaller people that can only give 5, 10, 15, 20 people.
It's amazing. It's amazing how she explained that
made
so
all the sense in the world to
clearly
me.
yesterday. You know, you hear this argument about public fund, and the argument goes on and on and on, and no one stops. She came down off of that 30,000 feet view and said, I'm going to meet you where you are. I'm going to help you understand why I'm taking this money.
Go ahead.
And it was so, and she did it so precise, and she did it so precise,
and it was very
within
effective.
her time
but
frame.
it wasn't anywhere near the truth.
Oh,
She just doesn't feel like asking a lot of people for money. I don't blame her. I hate it too.
Okay.
No.
Okay,
I don't think
Okay.
that's so. I don't think
Okay.
Oh,
that's
Norma,
so.
come on.
No, Paul. Okay,
No.
Paul.
Okay, because truth be told, okay,
Yes.
Get to the mic.
if Elliker, okay, goes out, let's just say, okay, everybody just go out and get your money, okay?
Right.
And they still all start at the same time. I bet you that Elliker, in a matter of hours, will have his money, and it will take Tony Harp
out
a
of the
long
community,
time
out of
to
the
get that
communities
money.
that
And
she's
then,
trying to
and,
reach.
then, and, then,
that they
and then if
service.
Elliker played by the same rules as Harp, he would have $300,000 more than he has now because he comes from rich New Canaan and knows all these people who would have given him big
That's
checks.
on him.
But
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
on
yeah.
him. That's
Doesn't
his
make him
choice.
holy, doesn't make him misdirectitude. I'm just saying
But-
it's not an honest discussion.
No, because he knows that if
She
he
just
did
doesn't feel
that-
like she doesn't feel like doing it for her advantage. He feels like doing it for his advantage. And that's what's really going on. They both came up with arguments.
But let me
about it.
ask you a quick question. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, who
Oh, she
works
knocked down
outside
the
of there?
park.
What's their advantage?
She knocked it out of the park in that. But here's the thing I don't understand. You got all these people running for president,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The Democratic side. How come none of them have yet to steal Tony Harp's debate coach? This guy's brilliant. And I'll tell
Whoever
you why
he
I think
is.
he was brilliant. Alex Taubes.
Yeah.
He was also her debate coach in 2013. People couldn't understand. They thought she wasn't into running in 2013. She came to that final debate, knocked it out.
Uh-huh.
And last night she was so confident. She was so much in her own voice.
Right.
She came out swinging not with a script.
Yep.
She
Right.
came out screaming not with
Right.
a coach who says, pretend you're this.
Mhm.
I think I only saw her look down 4 times.
The
I was
brilliance,
counting.
the brilliance of that
And which-
preparation was
I think you can have a coach all you want, but you have to be able to do the work.
definitely.
You can have a coach
Yeah.
all day, but if
Yeah.
you're
Definitely.
not, if you don't have the talent to meet that
don't-
level,
That's what I
That's
was going to
right.
say about what was good about that
she's
coaching.
talented.
And she understands that what you do is you help a talented person find her
You can have
own
a coach
voice.
all day, but if you don't reach the level of talent, then it's just a waste of time. She's
I
talented.
agree. You can't you can't put lipstick on a pig.
Oh, you can't make a hoe into a housewife.
But you can take someone who prepares for a debate and
I
get
beg
them
to- I
get
beg
them
to
ready
partner
for the
with
rest.
you. I've seen many of those turn
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
and become
Some
a
on my
wife.
way.
I know the first.
But the
first lady.
but the brilliance of that strategy, in my opinion, was that you took a person. So John Daniels, when he was the mayor, he was a very intelligent man
Yes.
who hated the kind of retail politicking and all that kind of stuff. He used to pay my friends to write him speeches. Before he was a mayor, my friend Bob Greenlee would write him speeches.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
buddy Khalid Lum was his press guy, wrote him these brilliant speeches that were really Khalid.
Yeah.
They weren't John Daniels.
Mhm.
So when he read them, no one was convinced. I think the magic of the way they prepared Tony Harp for these debates is that they didn't try to have her be someone else.
Correct.
Instead, they really worked on her. What do you think? What do you feel? They didn't write a script for her. She was not as Joe said, she was not reading lines.
I know,
She wasn't
but she's
memorizing lines.
My point is this: you could have a coach. She is already that. She's not new to this game. She
I
has
agree.
been in the political life pretty much all of her life.
Like
so
at least
she
30
didn't,
years.
she didn't come
30,
to this
40
like
years.
Cinderella and I just found a damn glass
But in
slipper.
each campaign, she didn't find her voice until the end.
But maybe
Yeah,
that's the
she
strategy.
was coming across too
That's what I
many-
think it was.
That's the
I
strategy.
literally
It's
thought
like
it
playing
was
poker.
a
I
strategy.
don't gotta give you my hand
Exactly.
until the end.
Yeah.
Because she came in the last, I would say the last 6 weeks or so, 5 to 6 weeks, where you really saw her
Yeah.
everywhere, speaking on everything. And then to see her perform last night was very interesting. It shows
Yeah.
that, you know what? Say what you want to. Say however you may feel about her. You can't look at the person that's up there right now telling you this information and just say, no,
See,
I
'cause
don't
for
grasp
me-
it. I can't connect. No,
For
it
me,
was
as
there.
the incumbent, it's your seat to lose.
Yeah, it is.
right? He's got to beat her. She don't got to beat him.
Right. So why put
It's
out?
her seat to lose. So
You know
she
that.
can let him run around town and show up at every event, speak Spanish. He can speak Armenian. Who cares? He can do whatever.
Right.
But it's her. He can sing a song, dance a jig, whatever.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
It's her seat to lose. He has to beat her. She
Right.
don't got to beat him. All she got to do is like, I'm the mayor. I got ish to do over here. I got to go do this and that and the other thing. And let people take those pictures of her being mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah, that's
pull
been the
out
strategy.
And
That's
then
been the
pull
strategy.
out the Obama piece. This is what a mayor does. They get stuff done.
They get stuff done.
That's the mic drop.
Right.
She don't got to run around and prove nothing. She don't got to get a early learning Spanish kit and speak Spanish.
Yeah, you know what? I
Spanish
think that was
people
very
know she's the-
condescending. First of all,
I
to
don't
the
think it's
entire
condescending.
No.
audience.
To the Latino
because you know
community.
what?
she-
First of
So-
all, it was okay, maybe for one or two sentences,
Right.
but to take the entire thing and just answer
Right.
it in Spanish, so that the majority of the audience that was there did not even understand what he said,
Yeah.
that was not very wise.
Well, I mean, I think the mayor
You know.
came back with the right response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Definitely.
you see what it means.
It was so funny, what you just said, how, Sam Rossley yesterday was explaining to me open air tennis. And he would say, the way it was, it's like you will play against all these people, will play, and then the last person, the champion from the last season will sit back and wait for all these people to prove that they can win.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is the prime example of what you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
It's like, you'll play. Because guess what? By the time you get to her, you're burnt out, baby. Because we already heard all the rhetoric that was coming. We already heard
You don't put your you don't put your best self forward
right
early on.
Early
You ain't-
on.
What you got? What you got? What else
because
you got?
at the end of the day, his closing argument was, I guess that's his campaign on change. And he expressed about his 4-year-old daughter going off to kindergarten and it's needed change as such. And if you
It was very well written.
As
in a
a parent,
bilingual school,
yeah.
when that never happened before. If he hadn't been running for office, I'm sure that those little girls would not be attending that. What is it? Christopher Columbus School.
Oh, they might transfer in January anyway. But anyway, him saying that and putting that forward, and I can reach he reached me as far as a parent goes. But at the end of the day, is it necessary? We want change. He might say we want change. Change is what we want, but is it what we need?
Yeah.
That's the question I'm going to ask.
That became the question. I would think, now you might not agree with me, I think they both did a great job at the end of putting forward what their campaign's about. There was less nastiness last night.
Oh,
They were hitting each other sharp, but it was really, I thought the crowd was great and passionate. Harp's people outmaneuvered him by getting there early and putting signs, and I thought that was smart. I thought that was smart.
But that's what.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's
That
what,
was smart.
That's
Yeah.
what campaigning is.
I agree. I agree. I said that as a props, and I thought in the end they both did a really good job of distilling what their campaign was about. Like, Justin, I thought it was a very well written final statement about my kid went on the first day of school. It was hard for us. She went on the bus, and it was time for change in a new chapter. And I thought that was well done.
But it's
I mean,
necessary.
that's
That's
lovely.
good.
Before you
But
put
as a
it
parent-
down, I'm saying that,
I'm
and he's
not-
saying,
And I'm not putting it down,
It's not
Paul.
putting
Please
it down,
don't.
Paul. But
What?
here's
It's
the
not
thing.
either
He's
or.
not the only damn parent that
Who
has
kid got on the
changed.
bus?
I got 4 kids. I done did change.
right. So he's not
Kindergarten,
speaking. So he's speaking.
elementary school, high school, now college.
No, I
done
understand what
been
he's
through
saying,
4
Paul.
seasons
I'm not
of
putting it
change.
down. I don't think Babs is putting it down either. We're just highlighting the fact of this is change that he's expressing, but is it necessary change?
Right,
That's
that's
the
going to
point,
be people's
okay?
question. So
But see-
then Tony
So-
Harp came on and said also and she spoke with just so much passion about this.
Mhm.
She said, we've been a community that's come together and cross lines to solve big problems.
Mhm.
So she's saying we got to continue on a good course and build on that. And that's her campaign. His campaign is, we don't like the direction things are going, and a new generation wants to steer it differently. That's a fair argument.
That's fine.
It's a
But
fair
you know-
argument. Nobody
but
says
the
no.
only problem I have with it is that this is the era of mediocre white men who believe that they can deliver some change on the backs of black people and brown people. What the hell makes him think that he got change to deliver? And whose change is he delivering it for? What do you want to deliver change for white people? Or he trying to deliver change? Speaking Spanish is not the same as being Spanish.
Thank you. But here's another thing, Babs, you raised a good point. Who do you want to change for? When I hear you make comments of, people are moving back into the city, you definitely are not talking about people. because we were here. So something that, if we're talking that's
No,
the
you're right. It's
language.
whites and Latinos. It's
Yeah,
better off white people to the great extent and documented immigrants.
He was talking
It's
about.
kind of interesting.
Listen, I
Yeah.
didn't see a compassionate bone in his body yesterday. He showed
He
absolutely.
might be compassionate.
Well, he
I don't
definitely
know.
didn't show it. And if you see what he talks about in terms of administrative, all the stuff that he has mentioned that is happening under the Harp administration, why don't you name me one administration that this same thing hasn't gone? This is
See,
part
that's a part I
of
agree with you on so much. I'm
administration,
tired
all
of
that
people
kind of stuff.
attacking a woman for this. And I stand strong. Not only is she a woman, a woman of color, she's a black woman. And when you come off with this stuff that it's just like it's only happening with her.
Yeah, it
It's something that,
happened
like,
worse in the
you know,
But do you
previous
think it's
administration.
I'm not
unfair to
saying
talk
it's-
about things that are
I'm not
wrong
saying that
because
it's
other
not
people
un-
did things
No,
wrong?
No,
it's not
I'm not saying it's unfair.
But they're acting
but
like
when you
this
try
is
to highlight
something
that this
new,
is
that
just
it's
her,
never happened
exactly.
before.
Well, when you try to make it look like if it's just her.
Well, murders happened
It's
before. They haven't done murder. I'm just saying murders happened before. Does that mean you shouldn't talk if someone commits murder?
No, that's not what
No,
it
that's
is,
not the
Paul.
point.
That's
No,
not the
we're
point. Because the
talking
point here is if you have someone who's want to highlight that the murders only happen on this person's watch, then there lies a problem.
And
we
here's
have to look at it.
The other
at
point
broad
is,
scale.
well, you know what? We live in a city that has a great deal of social ills, just like every other city in
you.
America. And to say no one wants murder, no one wants crime, no one wants any of these things. But let's look at how we are trying to address them and all the efforts that are being made to address some of these things. I moved from a different neighborhood to a neighborhood that everyone thinks is like whatever.
I don't think it's a bad neighborhood.
I never
Really?
thought it was a bad
I
neighborhood.
think
I don't
that
think
area
there's
there
any
have been people
bad
made a lot of good
neighborhoods in
things.
New Haven.
And I think
Thank
you've
you.
moved
But
to one where
see-
people have done a really good job of making a nice
It's
community.
just that you have to understand what do people perceive as bad neighborhoods because blacks and Latinos live there. Those are
Right.
bad neighborhoods. That's kind of what
Yeah.
a lot of people assume.
Yeah.
By the way, New Hallville look like Brooklyn now. Come on.
know it
Yeah.
does.
What's
Yeah.
wrong with you?
But it always is. as
I
far
can't
as I'm
afford
concerned.
those new apartments in New Hove.
There you go.
I don't know how Babs got lucky with hers. It's true. But I can afford to let people know they're listening to Pundit Friday and WNHHFM Live, SteveNewhaven.org. So I guess I feel like, and I promise, I'm not like supporting a candidate here.
Mhm,
I kind
right.
of looked at that debate and I thought Tony Harp clearly, outperformed in terms of a debate and what you stand like.
But you
I
say
thought there
it
were two
like
because I
you're
think
surprised.
no, I wasn't because I predicted that when
Yeah.
they stand next to on the stage, I think there were also strengths in arguments that Elliker made. I think they both, when I talked privately to people on both sides, they felt like
I'm not saying no to that.
that.
Like,
Harp
he's,
really,
you
Harp
know,
really,
I
Harp
mean,
really
I
performed
think
very
he's-
well.
I think he's better than what's the little guy that ran last time?
It's not even-
that's
it's not even the
amazing.
same
Everyone
universe.
forget the
Yeah.
guy.
But that's
Everyone
what I
forgets
mean.
his name.
What's his name? Packer.
Packer.
I mean, clearly he's head and shoulders and universes above Packer.
Something. There's something.
But he has absolutely no experience in running a diverse city.
right.
Yeah, that's a fair comment.
Okay.
And you know what?
That's true. But something that Justin did last night that was really cool. I was watching him up there, and you watching body language, and you watching. Is he going? First of all, when he stood up to answer the first question, I was like, "Oh no, he's not going to pull a Trump over Hillary, is he?" But then the mayor stood up. And because of the optics of it looked kind of like he was going to try to overpower. But when the mayor stood up, it evened the playing field. So I said, okay, they're going to do back and forth standing. So now I'm starting counting how many times they stood. Man, every question they stood. I'm like, oh, all right, so that's good. But then at some point, somewhere in there, he reached over to her and he commented something about how she answered. And he laughed and he grinned. And they both shared a smile up there. And it was so...
It's the best
that
I
was
saw.
good to
That's
see.
what I came with. It was the best I saw both of them.
Yeah.
That was good.
They've both said some. They both said some things in the campaign I don't agree with, but I think they're really good people. And
Yeah.
campaigns do not bring out
But
the
it
best
really
in
showed
people.
their true personality when
Yeah,
they did
I
that
thought
to
that.
me.
I don't
was
think
like,
these are
well,
like the
that's real.
villains. I think
Oh,
New
no,
Haven's the
I-
thing.
see,
I know
never-
you're not either.
I
Yeah,
never
yeah.
think that they're
Right.
villains. I think, listen, I get it takes a lot of heart, courage, and a belief that you can do this to run.
I would never have that belief. I could
So,
never run for an office
I-
like that because
I
I wouldn't believe I
appreciate-
could do it.
I appreciate Justin Elliker saying,
Like
you
she
know
said,
what?
it takes a lot.
I'm a jump in this thing, and listen. I may
I'm
not
gonna
be
save
the,
black folks.
I
Huh?
may not be the best, the brightest, the smartest, or the well tuned.
But I'm gonna save you.
But I'm going to do this.
But I'm gonna save you.
And that's a lot of heart. That
It
takes
does.
a lot of
It
heart
does
and
take
courage
heart.
to sort of say, let me pull together.
And we
a
want
team.
people to run for office. We want people to
yes,
have
we do.
choices.
Yes,
And Toni
yes,
Harp
yes,
is so
yes.
much of a better mayor than she was 2 months ago because she got challenged. And John DeStefano said that over and over.
I
He got
agree.
really mad at every primary challenge. And afterwards, he said, I'm better now because I had it.
But that's the NBA playoffs, right? Like
So
everybody-
true. So true.
You
Okay.
Hit it on the head.
That's the NBA. That's the NCAA.
Yeah.
That's all these
Prize fighting. You know, it's so funny. We were talking about it on the program
always
this morning.
better when
And
you get a
the
challenger.
only analogy that everyone in the room could come up to her about the mayor now is like, well, that's a prize fighter good
Yeah.
trying to hold her belt.
That's
and, you know,
it.
cutting. She
But-
even came out with a belt.
I mean, when
Let
you
me-
look at the last days of Muhammad Ali, when he was fighting at his prime, and people were like, he's washed up, and then he came back
when
with,
he had to prove
when he
against
had to
Spinks.
prove
Yep.
against people. He's like,
Yep.
listen, I still got this thing.
Exactly.
People went to sleep on me, but I'm still the greatest of all time.
hmm
Pretty and great.
How big of an impact do you think the debate has on the vote?
Well, now I think it does because one, it's a good article written about it in the New Haven Independent. Two,
Mhm.
it got not just because
We didn't take
of him.
sides, though.
Exactly, but it's a good article written about it. So what it does, it just
And we
makes
have the
people more
video.
engaged. Yes,
Yeah.
video, and now we're sitting here speaking on it.
Mhm.
So I think people will more so get engaged now because they started like any campaign.
And Eric Mastriano
You-
says hello. Thank you, Eric. What do you
Hey.
guys think about newspaper endorsements? Do they matter?
Not the New Haven Register, because who
Yeah.
cares
So
about
you don't
them?
care what New Haven Register does?
Hell no, I
Did
don't
you
care.
read their endorsement this morning?
Somebody sent it to me. Somebody sent it to me, and I sent back. The inner city has been favorably covering all this for like 28 years. So
What do you think, Joe?
What's that?
Does it matter when a newspaper endorses a candidate?
No,
I think it depends on the newspaper.
Yeah,
Do you think it matters when the New Haven Register endorses a
No,
candidate?
no,
not in New Haven.
What do you
But
think,
first
Norma?
of all, what? I didn't read the article, so is it
I'm not asking you about
is it
this article. I'm not
endorsing?
going to
No.
tell you yet. I want to see
No,
what you
no.
say.
I don't
Because
think.
see, to me,
no. The Register came out for Tony.
Really?
Yeah.
They say she's the best hope for New Haven.
well,
No,
I think that's a very good
Oh,
endorsement.
you see? You see?
no,
You
no.
make your decision based on what they
It does
said.
depend.
No,
That's
but I
right, who
don't
they're
think-
endorsing. Let me tell you, I'm surprised.
Mhm.
I'm
I
surprised
was
that the
too.
New Haven Register would do that because most of the mainstream newspapers have always been known
Mhm.
to always support the people that mainly read their newspaper.
Correct. That's
Okay.
correct. You're absolutely right. But
Maybe
and-
the only people left reading the New Haven Register are black in New Haven.
Well,
No, I don't think so.
I know
Mm.
over 50.
Okay.
over 50. That's true.
I would say over 60.
Yeah.
But you know what? The truth is that
No, because I'm 50. I'm 56.
under Harp's administration,
Yeah.
she has been able to orchestrate, okay,
Mhm.
as a conductor,
Mhm.
orchestrate so that New Haven, you don't have racial issues really. And if they do occur, they're taken care of right away.
Mhm.
Whereas we always had these under other administrations. So I wonder if now under the Elliker, okay, if it's just going to be a complete division in the middle of complete whites in one side.
Well, one thing I know
and then
Toni
the
Harper
people of
struggled
color
to
on
do,
the other side.
and the Register mentioned this, one thing she tried to do is to have us look at us compared to other cities.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
New Haven is really doing so great compared to other cities.
Absolutely.
I have been saying that for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know,
New Haven is not Camden.
And he wants to say,
it's not Newark.
and he wants to say we can be better.
It's
Let's
not
look at
Bridgeport.
things that aren't working
It's
right.
not New London.
Yeah.
you know,
But-
if things were falling apart under her administration, under her watch, I mean, really falling apart, like we had high crimes, we had schools doing bad, we had, if we could go through the list of stuff that deeply, the most that we hear people complain about is the taxes, and when comparing to other cities, hello,
So lead,
Yeah.
lead
We're
paint,
do-
lead paint thing's not on your radar.
lead paint
But
is
lead
wild.
paint has
Yeah,
been
that-
around for
Yeah,
years.
listen,
Why are
it-
they blaming
because-
Tony
no, no,
Harp
because-
now
no, you know,
for
Norma,
lead
way it
paint?
was
Norma, do you
When
care?
that has been in existence for
Okay.
how many years?
Do you
The way
care?
it was
But do you
handled,
care
like-
about the facts?
Of
Yeah.
The
course
facts
I
are there
care
was a
about the
major
facts.
change in the last year that 4 judges say we're breaking a law we used to follow.
Okay.
4
I-
judges. We've hired outside lawyers for over $100,000.
Didn't the mayor handle that last night when she said she admitted she's made mistakes?
She didn't mention lead.
No,
But she didn't mention it because you had 2 minutes.
but the health
Come on, man,
department
I'm
had a
over
lot
here
to do
spinning.
with this,
Stop.
and we had somebody in that health department that was there from
Paul,
previous
give me the look up.
administrations.
Are you
He should have been on
serious?
top of that.
For years, it was identified to her people, not just that issue, when they gave away the private information of all the healthcare people. She defended them to the end and spent a lot of money defending them when they did wrong. Then when she got rid of them, she had a new person come in who defied her publicly and wouldn't change the policy. Norma, that does matter.
Paul,
No.
lead paint has been around for many, many
Listen,
years. Now all of a sudden they take and they bring it up to as if it was something new.
Because something new did happen. She changed the policy and they stopped enforcing it. And the judges said you broke the law. That is new.
You know, Paul, you got to admit, man, come on, man.
Is that
See,
enough? Is that enough of an issue
No,
to hang your
no,
hat
I
on?
didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm just saying that you guys don't want to even acknowledge that things aren't all one way.
No, we do. We do, but on the things of importance,
Oh, no, you
That's
don't.
not important.
it is.
Oh, no, you don't. Are you kidding me? We are admitting. Not only are we admitting, we're over here singing the songs.
I'm a black woman in this
Come on.
town. You know how many things that are important to us? Because where's
That is
this
so
lead
true.
paint? This lead paint.
It's in the blacks and the Latino neighborhood.
That's right.
How many white kids? How many people in East Rock got lead paint problems?
It's so true. So true.
How many people in Westville, Upper Westville, got lead paint? I'm just trying to understand because white people seem to be hung on this.
Because
And
your
listen-
kid is going to bring lead paint to school
And
next
make
to
my
mine.
kids eat it.
That's right.
My
They're
brother,
going to pack it in their
my
lunch
brother
bag.
who is 50 years old, 50 something years old,
Mhm.
is a survivor of lead paint.
Mm.
We lived on Newhall Street when I was a kid in the 70s. So my brother had lead paint that damn near killed him. And then my mother, somebody came to my mother, she sued, and she got money, and he got set up for a trust fund for it. So this is how, so I know something
So
personally.
don't you care? Don't you want that
Wait,
enforced?
Do you think that I don't care?
I know you do. So
I
it's
but that's
all
her
being
point.
enforced.
I
No, her
care.
point is she does care because
I
she
do
could
care,
relate to it
but-
personally.
But you know what? At the end of the day, I still think that this mayor, the sitting mayor,
That's
is the
fair.
mayor to move us forward. Did she
Yeah,
make a mistake?
That's fair.
Damn
Yes,
right.
yes.
Has anybody else made mistakes? Damn
Damn
right.
right.
Did she learn and can she recover for them? See, it's the recovery
That's
part,
fair.
not the sweeping of the rug under the rug part.
Right.
It's the recovery, admittance, and recovery part that means something to
So
me.
have you guys heard yet any admittance? Because I'm still seeing $100,000 spent on
Yeah,
wealthy
that is-
lawyers
yeah,
who are
that's
fighting
still
it.
that's
I don't know.
That's
I
a
agree with
problem.
you. It's not the only issue
No,
in New
no, it's
Haven.
a
It does.
problem.
I'm not saying that therefore everyone should vote one way or another.
no, it's a problem.
I'm just saying that one they keep screwing up.
Yeah, they do.
And it has consequences. And he screws up stuff too. I mean,
Well,
people
I
screw
know.
up.
Listen,
but they've never admitted for a second they did anything wrong.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not even on the
But-
debate stage.
No.
But you know, the other thing that I need to say is that, see, under this administration, we have to think about it very well how everybody's being taken care of. Because when you talk about who's getting the money, it's definitely not the African Americans and the Latinos. The majority of the money economically that they're making are the white folks, the ones that are economically being taken care of under this administration.
One of the things.
Just as well as all the other administrations.
So you sound like Elliker. That's been his argument.
Okay, no, but
Babs
I'm-
points
but
out he may not
at
be the right guy
least-
to make that argument.
No, at least, okay, the Latinos and the African Americans are also being taken care of. It's not taking
Do you
care
feel
of the
that way?
whites at
Oh,
the
absolutely.
expense
Do you feel-
of the African
And-
Americans.
So this is a new
And
tune.
you know,
I'm just
when
saying
the
this is a
mayor
new
said-
tune from Norma. So you feel Latinos are getting their fair share?
Being taken.
No,
You
let
know
her
what?
answer. Let her answer because we've
You
been
know-
on the radio with her when she said quite different things.
Right, but I have seen, okay?
We're
you
at
have to
the table.
understand that
That's
when
all
we
you have to say.
start
We're at the table.
asking, when we start asking,
Just say we're at the
positions
table,
have
Norma.
to come open
Yep.
for that to happen.
Let's see, superintendent schools. Did
And
that
I
come
think-
open?
I'm sorry?
Was the superintendent schools position open in any time recently?
We're at the table.
We were.
Were
Were you at
just
the
say
table,
we're at the
Norma, for
table,
that?
Norma.
Yeah.
Norma, just say we're at the table. Don't let him rope you into that one. Are you kidding me? We're at the table.
I just feel that things are getting better.
Okay, that's
Okay?
fair. That's fair.
And
That's
the
right.
fact that
Yeah, it's
things
fair
are getting
argument.
better,
Yeah.
and the fact that
We used to
she's
have to
not
be in the next
personally
room.
a
Thank
corrupt
you.
person,
Yeah.
and
Thank
she's
you.
a very
I agree with that.
compassionate person
I agree with
that
that.
really cares about everybody,
Right.
regardless of their ethnicity.
I will say this:
I agree.
somebody
She's
on
not
the
a corrupt person.
somebody on the New Haven Independent site accused me of personally benefiting from the mayor, which
Really?
I didn't understand that at all because I'm like I don't even know what that means.
Really?
No, I haven't seen any evidence of that.
Wait, you know the mayor says to continue on what Norma was saying is when the question was asked, what are you doing for people, to educate our kids to get to the better jobs that are coming? She was able to
He was
point
good.
out.
Yeah, she pointed out some
she
program I
pointed
didn't even know
out
about. Yeah.
A program I didn't even know about that
She's
was
gotten
over
much better
Southern.
at talking about what she's done well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
program that's been put together
That
at
was a
Southern
weakness.
and was pushing, and that just pushed out 60 kids That's a lot to go into this, because at
And
the
she
end
didn't
of the
even
day,
mention the program that they got millions of dollars from Silicon Valley at District to
at
get
District,
adults
right? She did not
trained
mention
for tech
that. I
jobs,
told you
yeah.
she only had 2 minutes. But anyway, she did mention that
If she had a
programs that we didn't
communications
know.
person, that information would be out.
Be nice.
Well, I'm going to communicate the fact that you listen to Pundit Friday. WNHHFM live stream. New Hit
Lawrence don't talk to me anymore.
And
Because
I
I'm
don't
on
think
here.
I know who he is. I think if he
Because
saw me on
I'm-
the street, he'd probably throw a pie at me.
He probably will because he used to say hi, Joe. Now he turns his head now ever since I've been on here with you while you make these.
I don't know him, so.
He's a very nice man. Good
he
man.
is
He's been very
nice.
loyal to Tony Hawk for decades.
Oh yes,
I like nice
you've
people.
seen him. White guy with a ponytail.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've seen
Okay.
him.
What about, did you see any buses this week? Taking kids to school?
I saw some parents looking pissed off.
They had a sit-in. They stopped.
No, swear to God,
Yeah.
I saw a parent walk up to a bus with her kid I saw a parent walking to the bus with her child's hand, and she gets to the bus and she's like, "Is this the bus?"
Is this the right bus?
And then the bus was like, "No," and I saw her like, how you have like expletives. And
Yes.
I was like, I cracked up because she was pissed off, and she was looking at her watch. She's
It's
like,
been chaos.
It's
And
been
our
real
hands
chaos.
were
Why do you
Yeah.
wait to the day, 2 days before school starts to tell everyone you're massively changing where they get picked up on the bus, what time,
But
where?
you know what, Paul? You know what I noticed? I've been watching because I watch all of this across the country, and everybody across the country is
Shelton
having
had to
this,
close the schools.
They had,
They had no
same-
school in Shelton.
Is
They
that right?
screwed up the bus thing so bad.
But it's
they had to
across the-
close the schools.
It's across the country.
Yeah, I think we talked about this last week. I think the root of the issue, even though I think they did mismanage it, I think that the root of the issue is we got to go to good neighborhood schools where
Yes.
people don't need to be riding across town to get a good
I
education.
don't like to see little kids riding the bus
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Shouldn't
I
have
really
to.
don't.
First
I
of all,
see
where are the
these-
seatbelts?
I
Although
see these
Justin
little
Ellicker's
kids.
4-year-old
Plus,
was
they
on the
made some
bus.
people now walk. Now some people have to walk. If it's a certain
like a mile.
Yeah, but
No,
what's gonna
there's
what's gonna
there's
happen
less
in
than
bad
a mile
weather?
they have to walk, and I don't mind that because you know what? I walk.
You know
No,
what's
walking to
kids
school is
now?
good, but there
It
are
is.
going to be storms.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you want to
But then
4-year?
school's canceled.
Wait.
Oh, no. When I was growing up,
School's
even if there
canceled.
was no, they did not cancel school.
Well, no, we'll
I
cancel
remember in my Skippies, the $1 sneakers, walking to Welch School. Okay, walking to Prince School and walking to Truman School.
And then they invented these cars. Norma was around before there were cars. What are all these wusses got cars? And then some of them, they now go to the doctor if their arm
that
gets cut
creates
off.
character of the child.
That's
That
right.
creates
You got to be
character.
tough. Like if your arm gets
Tough
cut
love.
off, don't go listen to a
Tough
doctor. Go to
Babs.
Norma.
Paul, don't
Yes.
he's
What Chris Rock
exaggerating.
say? Ain't no fussing with the tussle.
No,
Once
when
Robert
God said,
Tussle
"Get
could
a
take
life
care of
for
it, you
common
okay.
sense." Paul Bass wasn't even alive.
Can I tell you something? As an empty nester, I don't
Yeah.
care nothing about this conversation.
Wow, I hear you.
I feel for you,
Yeah,
parents.
but what about
I
when your
hear you.
babies start coming?
What babies?
When your babies start having babies.
I'll be
all
dead.
right? No, you ain't.
I'll be long gone. My kids don't look like they got any interest.
Joel Schiavone.
Yes.
Remember him?
He's still alive.
Yeah.
He's still alive. He's
From the
old.
Palace
an-
Theater, right?
he's a-
Palace Theater?
he built that whole college
The
street
whole
district.
college.
I know
Yeah.
Joel. I know
Yeah.
his third, fourth, fifth wife.
I lost track.
Yeah, she went to
Jail.
prison.
Yeah.
And
What you
Oh, were
do?
you together? No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that as a.
no, not like Thelma and Louise together.
Anyway,
She
Joel
went
Schiavone
after
really
me.
knows how to spark a good conversation. He always has a little bit of a stake he doesn't reveal. So he rebuilt that whole district.
Yeah.
Then he lost it in bankruptcy, and Yale was
Hey.
begged by their mayor to buy it up. So then he was a tenant, and they evicted him. They said he wasn't paying rent. But
Yeah.
he also did bring up, he's very critical of the way Yale's developed downtown. He thinks there's too many chain stores.
And you know I'm critical too.
I know you are. That's why I was going to bring this up. And he says they have too many rules about like geared to how students are, but they're the market. But he says the philosophy is because the guy who did it was Bruce Alexander, who came from a mall company. And he says they think of the outdoor streets as malls where you have these kind of uniform rules and you go for chains. And he thinks that's really hurting downtown. Now, Brian McGrath, who was with him agreeing about a lot of other things, said, I actually think it's good Yale's filling up those storefronts. We have plenty of small store owners, too, who are from here. Joel says they can actually work with local people to have them develop stores that are more for what people here want.
See, you say local people. See, that's the word. That's like saying N-word to Yale.
Really? It's so true.
What do you mean, local people? There's other people beside us here.
But you know something? My biggest gripe downtown, is it is not family living friendly. Not in the slightest. And, it is just one of the nastiest things. It is blatant. It is blatantly pushed out families. It's like no thoughts whatsoever for a family.
Yeah.
You want to have
That's true.
Yeah, you want to have, look at all of the apartments, either micro apartments or the way the apartments are set up. They're roommates. They're set up like roommates. It's like, where do
Not
you
children
go?
friendly.
Exactly. It's not kid friendly.
You can't bring your kids to the newly reopened Trinity Bar and Grill that just opened to watch the rugby match. They had a big fire in Orange right by
I
Joe
know.
Ugly's.
I ate there a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Joe Ugly
Did
got
you?
some good video of that fire that day because he's right upstairs. He was
Yeah.
protecting the big tower from the flames. But
you got your buckets ready.
so what do you think? They reopened.
All
It's a pretty popular
16.
place. I actually don't hang out there because I'm not like sort of a beer and sports guy, but people love that place.
I don't.
And they are from Ireland
I
and
went
England.
there
yeah.
for the first time a couple of weeks
It's really
ago.
nice place.
It's big. I
It's,
didn't realize how big
They have
it
all these
is.
different screens, different sporting
Oh
events.
God!
Mhm.
But the food is great, Paul.
What did they have?
What did I have? I don't even know. What
They have
I
a great
had.
beer
I had fish
selection
and
too.
chips,
Uh-huh.
and they have a great beer selection.
I go to Christie.
And I think Mike is the bartender who I talked to. Good looking Irish.
And they're real Irish people. They're
Real-
from Ireland.
Well,
yeah.
you
because
have
those
for a
people
pub.
I'm
really
gonna be
are
honest
from
with you.
Christie, from
Last
the original
year-
Christie's.
Last year I was in Ireland.
Mm.
And when I went over to Ireland, even my son and I, we were saying that we were expecting to get that work, that racist work.
No.
It was totally
Irish
different
people
in
from Ireland are not
totally
prejudiced.
different from what's here. Let me tell you something. I'm going to be straight up. I go into Christie's on many occasions. I have to wait a minimum. And now I'm at the last time I was in there, I timed it. We were sitting there and I said, let's see how long it's going to take them to come. To at least acknowledge our presence. Okay? Well, not Christie's, I'm sorry. Trinity. Okay? When I go there, Christie's, on the other hand, how can I help you?
So you think because
It
you're
is
black,
like
they don't
that's
tend
the
to.
Ireland that I enjoyed a year ago.
I had a good time at Trinity.
Christie's.
Because
I
I was
did
going to
not.
have the
So you don't go to because
No.
it's right by your back door there.
No, it's right by my back
They're
door, and I
nice
do not
people.
go.
I had a good time.
We could
I
put, we
do
could
not
put a
go.
slide
It was
up
like
from your
that
30th
before
floor
the fi-
apartment.
It
Yeah.
was like that before the fire. My wife and I have been inside of there. Friends of mine and I have been in there. And recently, I was in there with someone on 2 different occasions since they're open. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I had a good time in
If
there.
I got to sit and wait for, and I'm like, the second time I'm like, well, let's see how long it's going to take us.
I had a good time. I sat at the bar. They gave me.
Oh,
You
see,
sat
that's
at the
the
bar?
difference.
Yeah, I sat at
The
the bar.
big difference is if you sit at the bar.
Right.
When I go
Well, there was
places,
no
I like to
reason.
sit at the
There
bar.
was no reason
because they
to sit
take
at a
care of you
table
right away.
because it was
No, but-
empty in there.
No. It
So I was
wasn't
like, let me
empty.
sit at the bar.
It wasn't empty in there. The bar was full. But even then, it's like I go somewhere. I don't want to be ignored.
Mm.
If you're going to ignore me, you're not going to get my money. You're not going to get
Yeah.
any. And guess what? I'm not going to say nice things about you. It's just not going to happen.
I know that feeling. I know
We
what you're
left-
talking about.
Okay, I'm going to tell you how it went. We left Trinity and went up to, what's this, Nolo?
Yeah,
yeah.
over there,
The old Jack Cleaners?
Yeah.
Yeah, the old Jack
Went up
Cleaners.
to Nolo's, went out on the deck, the front deck. They were at us in the splits. How can we help?
Well, that's because they need people to come there.
Well, guess what?
That's a weird location there
Guess
by the
what?
highway. Yeah. Kind of feel like
And their
crossing
food
the
is not
street's
bad.
kind of
Really?
odd.
It's not really that weird, really.
No, it's great they did it there. I think it's
Yeah.
great they did a place there on that spot. But it's kind of weird to like fit in your mind cross the street because it's not really pedestrian friendly and it's
Right,
not.
it is.
Yeah, you
That
have to
is-
actually pull
right.
into the lot. You can't
Yeah.
walk over there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
well, we did. We walked up there, but here's a true story. So we walked in, and I hear this. There's a band, a live band playing, and I'm listening to, to the girl her vocals, and I'm like, wow, she could really sing. So I looked at the person who was with me. And I said, she could really sing, but my niece would give her a run for her money. I mean, again, because my sister June's daughter, Erica, she's in a band. She's with West End Blend, who sold our tolls. They
All
sell our
right, well,
tolls.
then you need to take that to
So-
NOLA.
Well, hold on. I'm over there and I'm saying she's real. That was the Friday. So the Saturday I'm talking to June. She goes, were you in Nolo last night? I said, yeah. What? She goes, oh, Erica performed. I'm like, so
that
it was
was-
my niece.
You know.
The
And you
adventures,
didn't even know
the
what
adventures
you
of Joe Ugly
Yes.
in New Haven.
You
Hey,
know
you know, a
what?
lot of people don't notice when they walk down Elm Street, Howe Street. You know, Howe Street's the place where they're upscaling everything. They knocked down old buildings, putting up expensive apartments and
looking
everything.
like Georgetown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Brooklyn?
like, it's really
That's what-
intense. Like
you
on one
leave it up to Yale,
block,
that's what they
on one
like to
block,
do.
you're talking about 4 major properties where they're upscaling it to wealthy
Yeah.
apartments, and then at the very corner, there's something nobody even notices because it's kind of a big building, but it's kind of doesn't feel like it's
The
close
OI?
to the street. It's got a concrete, no windows that you see. It's called the Seabury Cooperatives, and something really interesting happened
Yeah.
there. So they were
Where's
built
this?
in the 70s.
I'm sorry, where's this?
Right there in the corner.
That's what I mean.
It's right there in the
across from the
corner.
pizza place and across
It's
from
on the
Rudy's.
corner of Elm
And how?
and Howe.
So on this block
Oh.
where the whole new gentrification's coming,
Yeah.
so you have this place that was built in the 70s that looks like a fortress, like they built things then, right?
Mhm.
And it was falling apart as a co-op that low-income tenants owned. Now we know it's within spitting distance of 4 to 5 other co-ops from that period who all went broke,
Yep.
and they sold out to developers.
Yep.
This place was going the same way.
Yep.
All of a sudden, they turned it around. We had a story about that this week.
I
Alan
saw
Appel was
that.
there. It is inspiring. First, the way they turned it around was green economics. They got a loan from a green fund
Mm-hmm.
to replace their ancient old boilers. So they're going to have like new furnaces and everything that are going to cut their bills way down. That in turn is enabling them to recoup all their finances. So all the developers are knocking the door, sell out, we'll get you guys some money, some quick cash. That's happening all over the city. They're actually starting a whole new chapter of their cooperative with low-income housing that people control who live there. And of course, Karen Du Bois Welton's helping them out, the housing authority. They're getting some of the rents there covered through Section 8 that weren't before to guarantee money for the upkeep. Because a lot of co-ops also didn't manage their money well. And they kind of fell apart. You know, they wanted to keep their monthly payments lower, and they didn't invest in the properties. And they fought on the, I'm talking about Antillean Manor. I'm talking about Tri Co-ops. I'm talking about Trade Union Plaza. I'm talking about Ethan Gardens. That's all within a couple of blocks of that. And that was all that idealistic dream that went down. I'm kind of psyched that one's still going, and that they found new. new-
I don't know what
It's always good. I know it's always good.
but
when
no one
you-
notices it. You notice the pizza place. You notice Rudy's. You notice all the big expensive stuff
Well, you
going
know why?
on.
Because it's got a high fence
And it's concrete.
and it's concrete.
yeah, it's
Right.
like
a
what
Oh,
is
okay.
that? It looks
Alright.
like
and
it's
I go
some
to
kind
Amigo
of
Felix all
warehouse.
the time, so I'm sure I must pass it.
You have to pass
Every-
it.
No, you did. You
do.
passed it there.
But there are hundreds of people living in there,
Is
and they
that
have a
right?
courtyard interior.
Yes.
I mean, as a community
do.
inside.
But
Mhm.
that was
It's just
the
in the
old,
60s.
Towers, right?
No.
That's not
no,
the
no.
towers?
It's right across from Brick Oven Pizza. You know the place that
Yeah.
have all the.
That's
wood
what I
Well,
mean.
outside?
That's what I
that's
mean,
the
Norma. It's this
ultimate.
huge. It's like
I had to Google it.
I know it's this thing that we all go
You're
by all
right.
the time,
All
and
the
nobody ever
time.
notices
Nobody
it. But there's a
never knows.
world in there, and it's preserving and reviving in a smart way that kind of shows an alternative to how we develop our
Paul said
communities.
there's a world in there.
So
There
who's
is, but we
living
wouldn't
there?
know.
Who's living there?
Hundreds of hundreds of
Families.
people, low-income people. They're tenants. They own the
That's
co-op.
awesome.
It's like the one that still exists here that Lydia lives in.
Yeah,
Those are the
Artisan
last
Street, on
few.
Artisan
Those are the
Street.
artisan. Yeah, those are the last few going. But
Oh,
these guys
yeah.
found ways to bring it forward to a new way in 21st century, make the economics work.
Good.
And to be
Here's the
more
question
But
I
I'm
have
sure
to
a lot of
ask. What is
students
it like
must
on the
live there
inside?
because it's so close
When
to
I've been
Yale.
in there, I haven't seen a lot. I think they need a lot of upkeep, a lot of
Yeah.
maintenance. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
housing is troubling everywhere in this country. Housing is troubling everywhere.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
was talking to somebody yesterday about
Wow.
they saw an apartment and it was going for like $3,500,
Yeah, that's.
and they were
sinful.
like, "Who could pay that?" And I was like, "I have no idea."
Roommates.
That's more than my mortgage.
This is the new
Yeah,
day.
that's true.
And this
is
I had
down-
about 3
You know,
or
you can
4
start renting out
students going
chairs on
there.
your porch,
And
hang
I
out
had
with Babs for
2,500
$100 a
square
night.
foot house.
Babs.
What if you rented out chairs on your porch, $100 a night to hang out with Babs?
But
You
you
can
know
make the
what?
rent.
Let me tell you what let me tell you what happens
I'm
in the
selling
Latino
time.
community. In the Latino
Quality
community,
time.
you will take and you rent an apartment out, a 2 or a 3 bedroom apartment out for like $1,200 or something, and then what they do is they sublet the rooms so that then they're able to
No,
pay.
man, you tell them secrets. Shh.
I know, Norma. You gonna have
Yeah, you
you
know.
have livable cities over there.
Yeah.
busting
but
people.
Yeah,
you know what?
La Voice, man. Sheesh.
But that's
La
the
Voice.
only way.
The
That's
Voice.
the only way that they can afford.
That's how
Yeah.
my daughter
These
forced to live in
apartments.
Oakland. She has a rent
Yeah.
control apartment, and rent's going so fast. She was in a low-income area that's starting gradually to go up. and she sublets half her apartment for someone who would otherwise pay like 3 times as much living anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's a nice place.
Oakland is a huge
Yeah, so that makes her
problem.
rent. Yeah.
People
Huge
live
problem.
2 hours
That's exactly what Norma
outside.
just said.
Yes.
Sublet. Yeah.
Oh my God! I don't
You
even-
know, and this is what I'm talking about when I talk about downtown New Haven with these prices. That's why most of these apartments, they look like my unit is a 3-bedroom, but it's the way it's set up. I have 2 full baths, which I'm trying to still figure out. It was no need, but the
Well,
reason
one's for the
being,
gin, right?
should do
Are
some
you
gin in there.
soliciting for a roommate?
Yeah, exactly. It's not
But
like I don't
50th,
have.
what happens? But you're on the 60th floor, right? So what happens when the elevator breaks?
Oh.
Just don't cut you.
Yeah.
Although I can't move in a box anymore, Paul. Like I did that when I lived at the Taft before it got all tricked out nice. When I lived at the Taft, it was divish.
You and Cory Booker was going there on Friday nights
Yeah.
to start that high society. Yeah.
That's how
To do
I know.
what? To do what?
They started the Jewish group with Cory Booker and that
Yeah.
guy who does Pike. They met when he was in law school, and they started a Jewish society that now owns all that property.
So it used to be like a dot. The Taft used to be a dot. I go in there now. I'm thinking, what the hell happened? I was like, I know I can't afford this joker now.
You know, why don't we do that anymore? Because remember the was it the ministers that in Washington Avenue, that created that whole complex there, the co-ops there. Remember there was about 4 or 5 of them that were ministers that did that. But you know, I don't hear
I know,
our
Dixwell Avenue, I think
communities,
it was.
the African American community or the Latinos community. I know that the Jewish do that. Coming together to come up with events to be able to make money that way.
Yeah.
Make houses.
You know?
Make
I mean, I
affordable
think,
that
housing.
kind of a
I think
partnership.
I think people are under siege. I think, you know, you look at places like Concat that are really trying to leverage resources in a community that people have ignored forever.
Whatever.
And then you see the church over at Beulah Heights, which is what they've done, you know, build up housing in their little fiefdom,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And then
But are
the,
their houses all for their members only, or
no, I don't think it's for their
No.
members only.
Uh,
For
And you know,
everybody.
you see what St. Luke's has done with their
They've
piece
done
of the-
amazing stuff to stabilize
with their
Dickerman
piece of the
Street
pie,
and Goff.
Wait a
right?
minute,
Yeah.
where's St. Luke's then?
They did that whole nice place that
Right there.
that
The
elderly
old AC
housing, and then they
Delco?
did a second
The
one.
old
Yep,
AC
yeah,
Delco
yeah, yeah,
building?
yeah.
But they built in the elderly housing
And
right
now
there.
down the
I
corner
didn't know
around the
that
corner
was
on
St.
Dickerman.
Luke's.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did
Right
a-
on the corner
they
of
just-
Golf
and Goff and
Yeah,
Sperry.
right, like-
Sperry.
right across.
And
from
they
the-
made a decision.
Firehouse.
They made a decision
Wow.
10, 15 years ago that they're going to care about their neighborhood and stabilize it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that
that's
elderly
awesome.
needed it. That was awesome.
That's awesome.
And they're building it. They're expanding it now. They're going
Yeah,
to
they
Dickerman.
are, which
Yeah.
is really
Hats
really,
off to St.
You know,
Luke's.
and then we saw what the Dwight management team,
Mhm.
you know,
They
and
did a
all the
great
work.
job.
So
Yeah.
there are people who are doing these things, you know, in
Mhm.
pockets where they can do them.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And just before we leave, do we want to do a shout out for Chris Erb?
Who's that?
Chris Erb.
I don't know. Who
You're not supposed to know the name, but he did have his name. There were 5,000 people running in a road race. He's a doctor,
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
and the guy in front of him stumbles,
Oh,
and the guy's gonna die. And Chris Erb, before the medics got there, stopped his race, resuscitated him with CPR, and the guy lived.
Well, isn't it what they're supposed to do? Like,
Yeah.
doctors,
That's that-
he
That's the
can't-
one guy wrote down on Facebook. He said, like, I know you do this every day, but it was so interesting to watch you
Like
do
you
it.
can't. Well, he took a.
It's like, listen, I have a race to finish.
He's like,
I'll
wait,
meet him on
that's
the
what-
finish
time.
line. You know?
That's what he
I've been
should've
working
did.
on that time.
He's like, wait, if you could just hold on, I'll be back.
Yeah. Paul, I have a question to ask. Now, I don't know if am I the only one who see this Hartford Fire Department truck, this ladder truck running around New Haven?
Why? What are they doing?
No, I just
Spying?
want to know.
Are they
Is- is-
spying?
no,
and
are we
I-
renting a truck or from
I don't know.
Hartford?
That's a good question. Let's find out. And
No, I
AG
just
Bellamy
wanna know.
says, hello, everyone. My son has a 3-bedroom unit. He's looking to rent rooms to traveling nurses or healthcare professionals that work at Yale Hospital, located 5 minutes from the hospital. AG, I'm not sure this was the right venue to post that.
Airbnb that note, bro.
I'm gonna put an ad in la voz.
Wait. How much? No. I've got a nice sweet spot.
I'd pay more than that to sit on the porch of Bev's.
Yes.
Hey, everyone, thanks for
Babs,
joining
when are you
us.
serving
today.
up tea on the porch?
Soon.
Okay.
That's what gets a little cooler, right?
Soup on the porch soon. I got soup.
Oh, soup on the
Oh.
porch.
Like people are like that was a destination.
Yeah, that's what's up. You know,
Yeah.
isn't that cool? And you know
do
something
a
about New
housewarming
Hallville?
and invite us and put all the things that you need.
You know, that's the thing about New Hallville. I got to tell you, I live in beautiful neighborhoods. They're bad communities. New Hallville, let me tell you something. What a community it is.
It's the
where
one
I
place
live-
where people use those porches. My neighbor does these beautiful porches, including ours. We never sit on them.
Never sit on.
Never.
You know,
Is that because
We have
you
these
don't
great
have the
chairs
time?
my
you don't
kids
spend any
made.
time home to
But
sit
even,
on 'em.
but on the weekend, even like I'm reading or
Well,
lying
you know,
down.
Paul, you can start that trend,
Yeah.
and we'll come sit. I'll come sit over there, serve some lemonade and some.
I did sit last week because my kids 15 years ago and 20 built these chairs when they were in this like LA White Printer. They're really beautiful and fun. And I sat on one and it collapsed because these carpenter ants for the last few years.
Oh my God.
Oh, damn.
So maybe I just don't have
You
it.
go over there and sit on this porch.
I'm
Let me
gonna say,
tell you how it's
no,
gonna go.
Listen, I don't want the white
This,
folks.
this is how it's gonna go. You from the minute you walk up to the porch to sit down.
Somebody gonna call
911,
the
what's your
cops.
emergency?
There's somebody on that porch. Somebody's trying to rob the Bass House.
I don't think they're home.
And Paul could be standing
He's
right out
supposed
there.
standing right
But
out
we'll
there.
have a-
Paul is being robbed.
But we'll have a chair you can sit in. Okay. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us with the best
right.
pundits in the universe.
And remind
Baz
everybody
Rolls
to vote
Ivy.
on Tuesday.
Oh,
September
absolutely.
10th.
Norma Rodriguez Reyes, who I'm sorry I give you a little hard time. It's a little bit of
No,
a little
no.
brother, big sister thing.
Yeah.
That's what I
And,
love about Norma. She has the thickest skin you
Oh,
can.
yeah, Norma's
what
like-
Norma don't? She don't take. Norma, you're the best.
She
Thank
is.
you,
I'm telling
thank
you, you are.
You are the best.
I
Well,
find
so
myself getting
is Harry
self-critical about
Droz, the miracle
Yes.
man behind the
yeah.
behind the
Harry
controls.
Trump, Harry Trump.
Thank you,
Harry
Harry. Thanks everyone for joining us. Asia, good luck in
And
renting
Paul
your
Gallagher,
sons.
Or Paul Harp.
And let's Asia Bellamy, good luck renting your 3-bedroom unit. Thanks for joining us today in Dateline New Haven. We're gonna take it out with the Afro-Semitic Experience performing "I Wish I Knew How It Feels
to
Be Free" from the group CD, A Plea for Peace.
Yes.
This is Paul Bass inviting you to peace out
You don't say it
All right.
anymore, Norma.
and fly
Yeah,
free with
I
us
missed that other
all
part.
weekend long at
Oh, good.
There we
WNHH,
go.
New Haven's home for community radio.